Well, we've been reading a lot of reports of an ever-increasing number of suspicious demises, if I can put it like that, amongst oligarchs and top executives. Ivan Pechorin, for example, top manager at the Corporation for the Development of the Far East and the Arctic, is alleged to have drowned after falling off his luxury yacht. The former head of the Moscow Aviation Institute, Anatoly Gerashchenko, was pronounced dead after falling down, quote, several sets of stairs. Ravil Magnov, the chairman of Russia's largest oil company, died in what Russian news agencies called an accidental fall from a hospital window, and so on. Is this part of Putin's playbook too? And is there a serious resistance movement to Putin that might do our work for us?
So there's a Russian saying, Nick, "Это не случайно, товарищ," which means this is not an accident, comrade. So none of it is an accident. This is standard Putin's playbook, as you alluded to. In fact, the Russians have a doctrine that dates back to Soviet times called the wet affairs, or мокрые дела. It alludes to the spilling, the connotation as spilling of blood. What that means is it really targeted assassinations. Putin is known for eliminating the opposition or somebody who criticizes him vocally, whether it's journalists like Anna Politkovskaya or politicians like Boris Nemtsov, or scores and scores of these businessmen and oligarchs that you just outlined. So regarding, and this is all, there are two reasons for that. The intent is to eliminate people who criticize him and don't support the so-called special operation to denazify and to demilitarize Ukraine. A very nice, eloquent disinformation campaign that was unleashed by the Putin regime. But the second goal is really to intimidate anyone who is even thinking about, criticizing the Russian government. And so regarding the actual opposition, it is my intelligence assessment that Putin's regime and his hold on power remains fairly strong. Yes, there are pockets of resistance particularly among young people, but it doesn't really rise up to the level where Putin can possibly be ousted, or worse. It's just very, very difficult to remove somebody like that who surrounded himself with very loyal, long-term friends and colleagues who come from the very same background of what the Russians call siloviki, the securocrats, the former intelligence operatives who turned businessmen. Once the Soviet Union collapsed, the communists turned businessmen and capitalists overnight, but nothing really changed in terms of how the power structure works in Russia.